Today I'm out in the woods. I'm out here because I'm looking for pawpaws. And you might be wondering, what is a pawpaw? Well, a pawpaw is a fruit. It's green, kind of pale green. It's usually shaped like a russet potato, although a bit smaller. Pawpaws are prized for their flavor, which is commonly characterized as being a blend of mango and banana. So I'm out here looking for pawpaws. Come along on today's episode. Pawpaws are native to the eastern United States, roughly from the southern part of Pennsylvania down through the southern states into the Midwest and as far west as Missouri. Where I am, in the DMV, in the Washington, D.C. area, in the Mid-Atlantic region, we are definitely in the pawpaw's native range. And we can find them in wooded areas, but not just any wooded area. You have to kind of go into the woods where there's a stream or a creek. Pawpaw trees like to grow in moist soil, moist, well-drained soil at that. So yeah, it can't be too flooded or excessively wet. If you wander into the woods, you know you've found a pawpaw patch if you see the pawpaw tree's distinctive leaves. In fact, the leaves on the shorter trees, which are usually eye level, these leaves are the first indication that you're in the right place. A pawpaw leaf is dark green, as you can see, and it's roughly teardrop shaped. At the widest part of the leaf, it has a pointy tip, and it's narrowest at the point where it originates from the stem. If you look at the stem itself, the leaves are never opposite one another. They kind of take turns going down the stem in an alternating pattern. And at the very end of the stem, there is this fuzzy node or a fuzzy bud. I would say a pawpaw leaf is roughly 7 to 12 inches in length. I've seen small ones, I've seen really big ones, but the one here that I'm touching is your average pawpaw leaf. So pawpaws are ripe once a year, usually from the beginning of September through the end of the month. So if you're in the right place at the right time, you can find pawpaws. Up on the branches, pawpaws commonly grow in clusters of 2, 3, and often more. Clusters of 5 to 8 aren't uncommon. Pawpaws, of course, can grow individually too. So I'll look around me, I'll scan my eyes up into the trees to see if I spot any clusters or individual specimens hanging there. Sometimes the pawpaws will be hard to spot because they can camouflage into the lighter green on the underside of the pawpaw leaves. And of course, I'll scan the ground and I'll watch my footsteps as I walk through the woods because I'll be looking for pawpaws that have fallen. Pawpaws, when they're ripe, of course, will dislodge and fall from the trees and hit the ground. Some pawpaws, when they hit the ground, will break open to reveal the orangey yellow flesh on the inside. And at that point, the smell will come out forcibly and that will attract insects and animals like raccoons and ants. When raccoons come out to eat at night, they will be drawn to those pawpaws that have broken open. Some will be relatively unbruised and unscathed, and they'll be ripe, and you can take them, and those will be the ones you eat. A pawpaw that is fully ripe will develop a yellowy tinge, and it will emit a tropical fragrance through its skin, which becomes increasingly more thin as it ripens. And yeah, you can cut a pawpaw lengthwise to create a trough and scoop out the flesh and pulp using your spoon. The advantage of this method is you can reveal the entire seed structure. Or you can cut a pawpaw down the middle to create two halves, and each half can be eaten like an ice cream cup. I like the method of creating two cups because I find that the pawpaw cup can fit into my fingers and my hand more easily as I scoop out the pulp. And you can spit out the seeds as you go, or using your teeth, you can scrape off that fleshy membrane around the seeds and spit them out cleanly. A pawpaw of no more than 3 or 4 inches may have up to 9 or 10 seeds. The trunk of a pawpaw tree can be very small. In fact, I can usually grasp it with one hand completely. The bark, as you can see, is very smooth, and it's light colored, kind of a light grayish brown color, leaning more toward gray. And often there are blotches on the bark like this. And yeah, I can grasp it and I can shake it easily if I want to. Most trees are like this. Yeah, and often you'll have thicker trees like this. This one I can't grasp completely with one hand. This is a bigger pawpaw tree, and it's much more rigid and firm. And if I were to shake it, I can't do it as easily. Okay, here's a tree that is much, much bigger, and I really can't grasp it at all. It's just too thick and big, and it's immobile, really. It's so rooted to the ground. And if I were to want to move it or shake it, I would, rather than having to grasp it and shake it with my grip, I have to kind of push it, really, to get any movement on it. I only collect pawpaws that are ripe. If I gather them from off the ground or if I shake them off the tree, I don't take them unless they're ripe, because from my experience, they don't ripen well once they're off the tree. So they're not like bananas or peaches in that regard. Pawpaws usually bypass that phase of edibility. They will go from being unripe, hard, or just slightly soft, straight to being bad. And that process of the unripened pawpaw turning bad will happen very quickly. Certainly, flavors and appearance will start to change in 3 or 4 days. At a week or more, pawpaws won't be the same. And that classic mango banana flavor that characterizes pawpaws will not be there. It will be compromised. Hints of bitterness and astringency will develop. Pawpaws will become discolored, going from green to purple, then to a dark purple that's just basically black. And you really don't know what it's going to taste like until you eat it, because despite being characterized as tasting like mangoes and bananas, and invariably some combination of that is true, you kind of have to eat it to find out where it falls along that spectrum and if some other flavors are present. So let me try this. Ooh, I got a spoon here. Gonna dig some out. Oh man. Oh man, that one is really creamy. Wow. Mmm. Mmm. I would say that is leaning more toward the banana side, but it's not that sweet. Sometimes pawpaws can be extremely sweet. This one is very well rounded. Yeah, it's leaning more toward the banana side. You know, sometimes people say, yeah, there's some cantaloupe thrown in and some pineapple notes. I'm not tasting it in this one. This one is more banana with kind of a little bit of mango flavor. But the really the palpable thing about it is how creamy it is. Sometimes pawpaws won't be as developed, the flavors, I mean, and the textures, and they'll have a kind of a chalkiness. This one isn't like that. It's just creamy. And in fact, that's what you want. You want an extremely creamy texture. And pawpaws tend to be very sweet, but this one's not. Some are so sweet that it makes you thirsty afterwards having eaten it. And some even taste like candy almost. I've had some that taste like bubble gum. It's so sweet. But yeah, this one is really good because it's nice and ripe, you know, and it ripened, you know, naturally on the tree. And it fell of its own accord, you know, nobody shook it, or maybe Mother Nature shook it down, but that's about it. And so, yeah, this one is really good. And I just cut this one. It's nicely yellow, bright and golden yellow, and you don't know what's going on with a pawpaw along that continuum of ripeness until you eat it. Different flavors can emerge. The depth of flavor is affected by the ripeness. Well, oh wow. That one is really deeply flavorful. Wow. In fact, yeah, this one this one is like that bubblegum flavor that I was talking about earlier. It has a deep, almost candy-like flavor. And wow, it's so sweet and so creamy. Well, let me get some more here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Mmm. Wow. I heard a thump in the distance, and so I went over to investigate, and I found this lying on the ground with some others. And so let me eat this. It's very soft, it's very ripe. I can tell by touching it, and it has a very yellowy complexion. And so, yeah, you can tell it's very ripe due to that characteristic of having that yellow tinge to the exterior skin. Let me cut it open and find out what this thing looks like on the inside and what it's going to taste like when I dig into it. Oh, wow. Wow, look at that. Holy moly, look at the depth of yellowness, oranginess in that pawpaw. Wow, that is magnificent. Wow, this should be a spectacular pawpaw. Let me try it. Let me grab my spoon and wow, let me dig in. Wow, again, you never know what it's going to taste like, even just by looking at it. You know it's going to be good, but you gotta have to try it to see, you know, what flavors are there along the continuum of flavors that are associated with pawpaws. Oh man. Oh my God. The depth of creaminess. Mmm. Oh man. When pawpaws fall of their own accord, they are just ready to be eaten, and they are just perfect because Mother Nature deemed this to be ready, and it fell. Oh man. The depth of flavor in this thing. It kind of has that banana flavor going on with hints of mango. Oh man. Oh man. And it's so creamy. It's so delicious. And I would say there's some other stuff going on too. You know, I'm trying to decipher whether or not I can taste some of those associated flavors, you know, like pineapple and, you know, cantaloupe, things of that nature. But it's just mostly a strong combination of banana, mango. You know, if you really stretch your brain and scrutinize your taste buds, yeah, you could throw in some pineapple notes in there too. When they're this ripe, they are just powerfully delicious. So a question that a lot of people have is, why aren't pawpaws sold in grocery stores and at the supermarket? And they're not because of the perishability of pawpaws. How can you have a fruit that only is commercially viable in the store for a week? You know, and apples and oranges and pears, you know, think about it. How long are they in a produce bin at your local grocery store before, you know, being purchased by customers? They're there for a while, I would imagine. But, you know, pawpaws can't do that. They go bad quickly. And the flavors will change. You know, the processes of fermentation and oxidation will change that classic banana mango flavor that everyone cherishes. It will turn to something else, you know, and it won't taste good anymore. And so customers certainly won't be happy by the taste and the appearance of the pawpaws. And also, pawpaws can't be shipped readily because they're so fragile. They bruise so easily, and you really can't stack them because when they're ripe and you kind of press the pawpaws together, or you collect them in a box or something like that, and once they break, the orangey yellow flesh will ooze out, you know, and it won't be viable anymore. And so yeah, that's why pawpaws aren't sold in stores. Thank you for watching and for coming along. I had a good time wandering in the woods today looking for pawpaws. And really, it's a very short season, for a few weeks every year as summer fades into fall. So I'm happy that I found some to take back with me. Well, I'll be getting on my way now. If you like this episode, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like what I do, please consider subscribing. I'll catch you next time on my next episode when I'll be back in civilization somewhere in DC, Maryland, or Virginia on my next food adventure. Take care for now. Bye-bye.